You are listening to the Lawyer Stories podcast with host Benny Gold. Lawyer Stories was founded in July 2017 on Instagram and is an expanding global network of lawyers and law students sharing their personal journeys to the noble profession of the practice of law. Join us on this podcast as we dig deeper into these stories and hear from lawyers and law students from around the world in all areas of the legal profession. Here at Lawyer Stories, we believe that every lawyer has a story. What's yours?
Welcome to the Lawyer Stories podcast with Benny Gold. Today we welcome Sara Shikhman, managing partner and healthcare attorney at Lengea Law, legal solutions for healthcare innovators in New York City. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on the podcast.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on. How are things in the big city? We had our event June 20th. Hopefully you'll be able to attend the next one, but we had a great time, met a lot of our people in our community. So what's going on in New York? Anything cool?
New York is as busy as ever. I think that New York is where there's a lot of hustle happening. So there are a lot of new businesses starting, people buying businesses,
Yeah.
people fighting with each other a little bit, all the usual
Really?
New York
Okay.
stuff.
A lot of fighting. All right, we'll have to get into that later. But no, a lot of hustle, which is cool. I mean, you've definitely a lot of busyness and hustle. That's sort of where you are after reviewing your story and seeing what you do. Wow, you do a lot. So, tell us about your background. You're not a New Yorker, so tell us where you're from and when you came over.
Sure. I was born and raised in Ukraine, a country that no one had ever heard of until a few years ago in the US. And now everyone knows where it is and what it is. I came when I was a little girl and settled in Brooklyn with my family and ended up staying in New York for a while. Went to law school at Penn and then came back to New York and pretty much have had my career there since then.
And you love New York. Have you ever been to a suburb of the US?
Yes, I actually
Okay,
lived
all
in
right.
Ohio for
What's that?
I lived in Ohio for 6 years.
No way.
Yeah,
What part?
Columbus, Ohio.
Okay. All right. My brother-in-law's in Cincinnati. So you just went out to Columbus?
Love, actually. It was
No, I
love.
mean you went out there and just for 6 years. Okay.
Yeah, I was married to someone who went to medical school at Ohio State, and so he
Nice.
wanted to live in Ohio, and so that's what we did.
Very cool. So, when did you know law school was the right path for you?
Well, when I was about 10 or 11, my parents had a talk with us and they said, look, you and your brother, he was, I think, I don't know, one at that time, or maybe one and a half. They were like, you, and tell this to your brother when he's old enough. You could be a doctor, a lawyer, a banker, maybe an engineer. That's it. Nothing else. That's why we're
Nothing
coming to
else.
America.
Nothing
And
else exists.
yep,
So how old your brother was one? How old were you? What's the
I
age?
was 10.
You were 10. Okay. So you were just you grew up with that. Maybe I should tell my kids that. So you grew up with that mindset that I'm gonna be one of them.
Yeah,
Okay.
the mindset was really like, we left Ukraine for you and your brother.
Yeah.
You couldn't do these things there. You need to do one of these things here. You have choices, one of these four. It's not like you have to be one of them. You could be any one of these four. And so that seemed like a lot of choices at the time. And
Yeah.
then I think when I was in college, I took a class and we had to dissect a frog. And
Nice.
I just really didn't like that.
I feel like everybody has the blood or medical story. We're yeah, we'll go to law school instead.
Yep.
So that's cool. So what were your parents just curious, what were your parents when they came over to give you a better life? What were they doing?
Uh, I remember they had to go back to school. So they didn't know how to speak English. So they were going to school to study English. And they had this book, the Book of American Idioms. And it
Okay.
was just different expressions that they were
Okay.
studying that didn't make
Was
any
one of
sense.
the expressions go to law school?
Pretty much.
I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
pretty much. I mean,
Okay. All right.
it was humbling, I think. My dad was
Yeah.
a computer programmer in
Okay.
Ukraine. And when we came here, he was delivering pizza.
Yeah. So
So
true. So they're doing whatever they can to give you the best life that you could possibly have, and they're hustling for you. I think
Yeah.
that's incredible, actually. I think that's such a noble story. So
Thank
like
you.
you get to undergrad, you did some undergrad, like let's talk move into like the law school days. Like what was law school like for you, your experience?
Law school was hard and overwhelming. I think at Penn, like a lot of people were much more prepared for it than I was. A lot of people's parents went there, or they had lawyers in the family, or like they had a lot more guidance. I was just kind of like, oh my gosh, like there's so much reading, and it's all these people like know English better than me. It's their first language. And it was hard, but I was like, okay, I just need to turn up my hustle and work harder than everybody else. So some amazing things happen in law school, like that I can't even believe.
Like
Um,
what? Tell me.
so like we had this thing where as a first year law, like after your first year, it was really kind of unheard of to get a job at a law firm for the summer. A lot of people would go work for a judge or do some other for
Okay.
the DA. And then this one law firm came on campus and they were like, we're going to interview 200 people and we're going to select one person for our summer job. And I was like, I guess I should interview for this because it's going to be $30,000 that they're going to pay us for the summer,
Oh
or
my
25,
goodness.
like a crazy amount of
That's a
money at the
fortune.
time.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah.
I was like, okay, I need to get this job. So I went in there and like somehow through I like really researched my interviewer and I really prepared. And his name was Larry. And I was like, okay, Larry, I have to tell you, I really need this job.
You're like, listen,
Also,
Lars, I need this job,
yeah.
Lars. Let's go.
I was like, but also, I know I spent so many hours preparing for this. I know everything about you, your
Wow.
family, like your history. You could ask me anything and I could tell you.
Really?
And I
So
think
like
he
did the
thought
family thing freak him out a little bit? You were like,
I
look,
think
I
he
saw you
was
on
probably a little,
Facebook. How was that trip that you took last summer to Hawaii?
and this is before Facebook. So this
Okay.
was
Oh, fair
hard.
enough. Well, that was Friendster. Do you remember Friendster?
I do remember
Okay.
Friendster.
All right. We'll talk about Friendster later. All right. But that's
Yeah.
great. So you obviously knew how to really prepare and like ramp up for the interview. That's
Yeah.
so what
Yeah.
was his response to all that?
He was like, okay, so tell me what you know. And I told him, and he was like, oh, wow, you do know a lot. And I said, look, I'm willing to work hard, do whatever it takes. Like, I'm the hardest working person in this class. I would love to get this job. And then after the interview, I sent him a long thank you note,
Yep.
going over everything that he told me, whatever. And then I was just walking to the cafeteria and he called me on my cell phone. I was like, who is this? And he's like, this is Larry. I was like, Larry who?
Really? Like you didn't know it was like
I had no idea. No, because he called me on my
Larry
cell phone.
Bird? Oh, yes. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
So he
So
like you were walk. Oh, so this was like after sometime.
after like
Okay.
a few days after, but it was I didn't think I was gonna get it actually. But
Amazing.
then
Did the other students like react to that? Like when
yeah, they were like, you got that? Because like I wasn't the most polished
yeah.
or I don't know, pedigreed student, right? But after that they kind of had a new respect for me, I
I
think.
think that's like a really actually important story to tell people, like law students. Was this when you were at what school? Penn?
At Penn, yeah.
That's a really important story to tell people. So that's great. Congratulations on that. I know
Thank
it
you.
happened a while ago, but I think there's a lot of like congratulations happening in this episode because you've done some incredible things here. Like the next thing I'm going to talk about. So you went to law school. You obviously had that great experience where you made a fortune and hopefully learned something too. I mean, they probably took you out to like fancy dinners and everything. But so you joined a law firm for 2 years after law school, right? And then you went into asset management though for like a little while. Like, how did you know how to do that stuff? Like, you made some pivot into asset management for like 2 years. Like, were you like trading money? Like, what were you doing?
No, I was working at the law firm.
Okay.
Uh, Everyone at the law firm would always talk about, whoa, if you go in-house it would be cool, but if you go to work on the business side, it would be even better. And I was like, okay, business side, that sounds good. And so I kind of connected with a lot of different people on LinkedIn.
Yep.
And one of those people ended up being a recruiter from Deutsche Bank, and she was like, oh, we're looking for like a lawyer to sit on the business desk and asset management. You don't really need to know asset management. You just need to be able to like deal with the business people. And so I was like, sure, I could interview for this. And it was great because they matched my law salary and it was much better hours. And
Yeah.
um, I did that for a while.
Was it busy?
No, it wasn't. The thing is, like, it
Yeah.
really wasn't busy. So I was
Right.
like, so I wanted it to be busy. I would go to
No,
people's
I
office
bet. I bet it's the
and be
days
like,
later
can you
when
give me
it's
some more work? Like
yeah.
anybody? And they were like, why?
Why? Go take a long lunch,
Yeah.
Um, so you've had some amazing like leading up to Lengea Law, like you've had some awesome experience. Like you moved on to like a general counsel roles, chief legal officer roles. Like what did you like about those? Like why did you go into those rather than maybe another firm that somebody owned?
I really liked like working for companies and being an entrepreneur. So like after the Deutsche Bank experience, I was working there and my friends were starting an online furniture company and they were like, we need a
Nice.
CEO. Can you be that? And I said, well, I don't really know much about furniture or
They
being
wanted
a
you to be like
CEO.
the CEO.
Yeah.
I would have of a I would have just like sat on the couch and been like, yeah, it's okay.
I mean, no, I thought about it for a long time and I was like, well, it's now or never, like
Yeah,
e-commerce. This was back in 2010 or
yeah.
2009. So it was just in the beginning of e-commerce of furniture. And I just thought it would be an interesting opportunity to try and build a team and grow a company from $1 in revenue to we grew it to like 15 million. So it was
Gosh.
awesome. A great
$1
experience.
in revenue to 15 million. Were they selling furniture, like discount furniture, I think I read?
Yeah,
Yeah.
on the internet.
On the internet. Wow. So they have to ship it or anyway, that's fine. That's
Yeah.
interesting. All right. So you were the CEO of that.
Yep.
Amazing. So tell us, Sarah, when did you know it was time to launch your own law firm?
Um, Great question. I think about 5 years ago, I finally felt confident enough to say, okay, I don't need to have like partners to do this. I don't need anybody's capital to do this. I
Okay.
don't need anyone's belief to do it. I just need my own. And I need to take this bet on myself
That's awesome.
and I'm ready. And that's when I knew.
I feel like you never had any doubt though that you were going to head in that direction. You know what I mean? Like you have, tell us a little bit about like your entrepreneurial spirit.
I had doubt and I still have
Oh,
doubt every
okay.
day. But I think I always had this perseverance. So
Okay.
I always felt like, okay, I could always get back up. No matter what, I'm
Okay.
always going to get back up. And I think over time, I realized, well, as long as I have that, having doubt is okay.
Do you think like, and I don't know, maybe this is a reach, but getting that job, like that job in beating out all your law classmates, like did that give you a boost in like confidence, like, hey, I can do this type of thing?
Definitely, it did.
Yeah.
I think it made me believe that even if I'm not the most, the candidate with the best background or the best support system or the fanciest parents, it doesn't mean that I can't be as good or even better than everybody else. So I
Yeah.
think, yeah, that it did.
Great. So why healthcare?
So I was thinking about different industries that I knew and different industries that I felt passionate about.
Okay.
And like healthcare and beauty and changing people's lives and making people
Interesting.
feel better just felt like a good fit for what I like myself personally.
Really? So what do you like personally?
I like making people feel good.
That's
And
great.
I like the idea that there are companies that enhance people's lives or at least try to.
Okay. So this might sound, I'm sorry if this is a simple question, but I need an answer from like a seasoned attorney like you. What is a medical spa? I feel like it's like a lot. There's some different things that it can be. No.
I don't know. No, I do know.
Yeah.
I
Oh, we're gonna have to edit that part out. No.
No, no. A medical spa is actually this unique kind of healthcare entity that's a combination of like a beauty spa and a healthcare business in one.
Okay.
So it's a healthcare business that looks not like a healthcare business, but legally is.
Okay. So like, what can you give us an example of like something like that?
Yeah, so it's a place where people can get injectable treatments or
Okay.
laser hair removal or weight loss medications
Okay.
or some combination. So there are a lot of them around popping up like all over the place, but generally it's anything like a big company in that space would be something like Ideal Image or Laser Away or something like that.
Right. And I think that, it's becoming increasingly popular. I read that there's like way more coming down the line. So like that's probably good for your business. Um,
Yeah, it's there's a big rise of like concierge, cash pay, medical. So all these different medical companies that don't take insurance, that cater toward customers who are like looking to feel good, look better, live longer, feel healthier.
okay, cool. So I wrote this down. Your clients are medical spas, established and startup businesses, healthcare and healthcare technology companies, medical training companies, and individuals who are founders of healthcare businesses and management companies. Tell us about some of the legal issues. I mean, look, I read some of it. I mean, obviously, I do my research, but you are handling a lot of legal issues. There's a lot of stuff and legality that goes into all of these, like finding a business and just like throughout the course of the business. So tell us like about some of the legal issues that you're handling for your clients. I mean, it's like contract law to trademark law.
Yeah, so one big issue is ownership and scope of practice.
Okay,
So what's interesting about healthcare businesses, just like law firms, only certain types of professionals can own those kind of businesses. But now, like these days, there are a lot of private equity groups, lawyers, nurses, all these other people who want to own healthcare businesses.
interesting.
So we have these structures in place that allow people to enter into and invest in these kind of businesses, even if they're not medical professionals. So
Okay,
that's one, like the formation side.
formation, yeah, sure. So what other kind of issues come up that you're dealing with, like that clients come to you for?
Like ongoing business issues, like that happen in any small business, employment issues where people, staff, are leave and compete and start a competing business, or
Okay.
don't show up to work and what to do.
So
Or-
so I'm going to stop you right there because
Yeah,
the competing business thing, I'm guessing that's like a covenant not to compete type of thing.
yeah,
So you wrote a nice article actually on LinkedIn, which I recommend everybody go read. I believe that was your article. Is that
yeah.
correct? So it was like 4 months ago. Like, do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the whole non-compete landscape is changing.
Yep.
There was a new law passed that's going to go into effect in September that basically says non-competes are illegal and they should be going away. And if you have non-competes with your employees, you have to notify them that they're
Wow.
no longer enforceable.
Is that
So
everywhere? That's like a federal thing, right?
it's a federal thing,
Wow.
yeah. So some states are fighting it. So in some ways, parts of it may not come into effect, but most likely the bulk of it will. So as of
Okay.
September 4th, the whole employment landscape in the US is going to change.
Wow. And what's the date on that?
I think it's September 4th, 2024.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so going back to, thanks for bringing that up. So you're dealing with that, like contract issues. People come to you like for all of the issues that have to do with these med spas and like these medical like locations. Do you want to tell us more about some of the stuff that you're dealing with, like some of the what your clients are coming with? I know you've helped like 500 of these sort of
Yeah,
locations or
more
whatnot.
than 1,200 by now.
More than
So
1,200. I
yeah, so
need to
yeah,
update my info there. Sorry.
our business has grown. I think we work on the other side of it too. So we work with a couple of private equity groups who are looking to acquire med spas. So we help them find good targets for them and do
Wow.
the asset purchase agreements and all that kind of stuff. And then we do investigations as well. So since these are licensed professionals, sometimes the nursing board, medical board, other boards may come and pay a surprise visit. And the way that happens is somebody's competitor usually makes an anonymous complaint. Then the board
Wow.
comes in to
It's
investigate
so
them.
petty, Sarah. Like,
Very petty. It's very
okay,
petty.
go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, and then it starts this whole process where they're under investigation, and then we meet with the investigator and we present their case, and um, that's the less fun side of our business. I hate like when that happens to one of our clients, but we try
Yeah.
very hard to protect everyone's license and help them get out of the situation and go on with their lives.
Sarah, are you helping these locations only in New York City or are you like elsewhere?
We're elsewhere as well. So my firm has 10 attorneys now licensed in a lot of different states. So we work in a lot of the major states.
Okay, that's cool. So you told us about the covenant not to compete, like the non-compete agreements. Tell
Hmm.
us more. So you wrote some really cool stuff on LinkedIn. So something that I've actually like never heard about, to be honest with you, like a hydration business, like
Hmm.
starting hydration bit, like you wrote on that, and I think that's incredible because I've never seen anything like that before, like written. So do you want to speak to that, or yeah, speak about? Do you want to speak to that a little bit?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So an IV hydration business is also like this new type of business where people come in and you give them injectable vitamins, drugs, lots of different things. Sometimes even things like ketamine clinics. That's another side of this. So basically, there are ways to deliver medications and vitamins via an IV,
So like
and that's
people who are hungover, like go into these places, is that what that is?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, people who are hungover or people
How
who
much
have
does that cost, like to get like the drip or whatever it is to like?
$100 to $200.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, and you instantly feel better.
Really?
I mean, I don't want to make a medical claim or a
Okay, well,
guarantee,
maybe
but
we should come up with like a little like device that'll, mimic that we could sell on like Amazon or something.
well,
If I see it come out, I'm gonna talk to this podcast. I'm gonna say, hey, no, but what do you okay, so anyway, you these IV like hydration clinics, you're writing about them. They're like a new type of startup business.
yeah, they're a new type of startup. It's really cool because usually it's recurring revenue. So clients come in over and over. The same client, once
Okay.
a month, they come in for their regular injection of something or
Mhm.
infusion of something. And then, if you know that you could be hungover and then and then come in the morning and do this drip and 20 minutes later feel better, people just keep doing that every Saturday.
Wow, that's unbelievable. Uh,
Yeah, very popular in Manhattan.
I would just wonder what it would be like that the Monday after the Super Bowl. That's
Yeah,
like the most called in day of work of the year is what I've read.
well, a lot of these businesses do this on a mobile basis too. So they would have like a van that goes to
Wow,
people's
okay.
homes or even parks outside of somebody's office and they can come in and do this thing and go back to work or go back to their day.
Sarah, I don't know, like you seem to have a lot of medical knowledge. I think it could have went either way when you were like a little girl that came over from Ukraine.
No, you should have seen me with that rat in that
That
biology
frog,
class.
okay. The frog was,
Or
yeah.
frog. See, like frog rat. I mean, I was just first, and I almost
It
threw
was a
up.
rat? Oh, that's terrible.
Or I don't know. It
All
was
right.
bad.
It's okay. I won't bring up the trauma. So tell us about your comprehensive team and their approach to assisting clients.
Sure. My team is awesome. It's mostly women, and most of our clients are women.
Okay.
And it's very cohesive, and everyone is like very collaborative with each other, which is really cool. Like, it's a very flat organizational structure. So I think what I really didn't like about working at a big firm was all the layers of bureaucracy and how the partners were somehow like on a different level than the associates.
Hmm.
At my firm, it's very different. Like everyone has an open door policy. Everyone is treated the same. Everyone gets the same opportunity to speak, and everyone is encouraged to just like be themselves and do a great job. And there are a lot of positive emojis on our Slack channels.
That's all you have Slack channels, huh? Okay, that's cool. So like what inspired you? Like how is your vision shared, in the firm's culture and like the success? Like what was your big inspiration?
I think being a female entrepreneur myself, seeing women who are starting businesses for the first time and just like me, sometimes maybe not having the confidence or not having like the right mentor or support and coming to us and really saying like, okay, this is my first business. I'm putting my trust in your hands. Can you help me? That really like speaks to me and I really care about doing the right thing for them. So
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
yeah, and like with our first 5 or 10 clients who referred our next 5 or 10 clients who referred our next, 100 clients, like it's always been the
Wow,
same, like trying to help these women and men start businesses and really be as successful as they can be.
that's amazing. So, like, what's the most rewarding thing about working with women in the med spa industry, would you say?
I think the most rewarding thing is seeing how much their businesses have grown. Like right now, we're working with a client who started with us, who had like a single room practice, literally one tiny room,
Really?
and
Wow.
now is selling her business for, $4 or $5 million. It's been only like 3 years or 4 years. That's cool. Like I love that. I'm so happy for her, and like, it's such a pleasure to be part of that.
Yeah,
A
that's
tiny
amazing.
small part of that.
Yeah, and you could definitely tell you're genuinely like happy for them, like their success. So that's really
I
nice.
am. I am. Very much so.
That's really nice. So what sets you apart like from other firms? Like why should a client come to you?
I think because I've been there, I've run businesses myself. I know what it's like to be an entrepreneur. I know the daily grind, and I could really understand things from the perspective of the entrepreneur. So I can really find ways, and my whole team can find ways in the law to make it like work for our clients. So we're not like very rigid like some
Okay.
other attorneys. We're more like, we're on your side. We're going to try to our very best to make it work for you
Okay.
while also maintaining your compliance. So I think it's that we have a lot more understanding, experience, and compassion.
Oh, that's awesome. So tell us about Medspa Confidential.
Yeah, I always wanted to write a book. And I think a lot of people
Oh,
always want
that's
to write a
awesome.
book.
Tell me about that. Actually, okay, go
You
ahead.
should write a book. Why? I can't believe you haven't yet.
We can talk about that after. I might have been thinking about it, so we'll talk about
Okay.
it. All right.
Okay.
But anyway, tell me about Med Spa Confidential. It sounds
Yeah.
juicy. It's
Yeah.
juicy, Sarah. I like it.
Yeah, so I always wanted to write a book, and one of my friends, her name is Carol Clinton. She was a doctor and a good friend, and sold her med spa for a lot of money. We were speaking, and she said, "I also want to write a book about starting a med spa, selling a med spa." And I said, "Me too," because I also did the same thing. So we came together, and she had ovarian cancer, and there was a fixed amount of time that we had to work together. And we wrote this book in the course of maybe a year and a half or so. And it's about how to start a med spa from the business side and the legal side a little bit too, and how to sell it from beginning to end.
Wow.
And yeah, it was really a labor of love. And we did it just like more for just to get our stories out, not to like
Yep.
make money. But the book has sold thousands of copies somehow.
Really?
Yeah, so
Unbelievable.
it's called Medspa Confidential, and it's like a primer on how to start a med spa that my friend and I wrote.
I love getting hint hint like autograph books from people I have on the podcast. I mean, that's pretty sweet. Like,
Yeah,
congratulations on your success with that.
thank you. Yeah, it's been awesome.
Med Spa Confidential. All right. So would you consider this like a rare niche that you're involved in?
Yeah, I think um it is a niche, and I think there are lots of opportunities in the niche, I think that
Yeah.
there's if you're just a general lawyer, like doing, I don't know, LLC formations or something like that, I think or just like if you're a general business selling the same thing that everybody else is, it's very hard.
Right.
But if you're doing this specialized thing, if you have a real competitive advantage, it's so much better. And so I think like med spas are that, and med spa lawyers are that. And there are lots of other small like funnels like that.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And your website's great too, by the way. I encourage everybody to check it out. Are you still do you do memberships and stuff like that? Do you want to speak
We
to that?
do.
Yeah, let's hear
Yeah,
about
so we try to practice what we preach. And what I tell all my clients is you should have recurring revenue. It's awesome. You should have a membership program, and we have a membership program too. It also builds a lot more loyalty having clients as members as opposed to just clients thinking of you as one and done. And
Yeah.
so the membership program really, like, it makes sense for us, it makes sense for our clients. So I would say 90% of our clients are members. And
Wow. Okay.
yeah, and many of our clients who are med spas or IV hydration businesses also have membership programs for their clients. So it's like this whole membership ecosystem.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'm a big fan of memberships. Like I
Okay,
think
well
that,
we're gonna be launch. Oh, you mean your membership or your
or
big?
just in general, I think like every business, if possible, should think about having a membership.
We're gonna have a membership, Lawyer Stories,
Great.
very soon. We've been waiting. I've been trying to do it for 2 years, and I'm so pumped.
Perfection is overrated. You got to just launch it, and then you
Yes.
can
No,
grow
you're
it.
100% right. You're 100% right. So we talked about your website. What else is on your website is templates.
Mhm.
I think those are super important. Tell us about those, Sarah.
Yeah, I think digital products in general are great. So a lot of our clients are pretty sophisticated and they're happy to change up documents themselves. So for those clients, we have templates and then the clients can download them and customize them on their own, or we could customize them for them if they want. So we have a pretty big template library and we have a lot of them available online.
Okay, cool. And another thing I noticed on your website was blogs. So what I want to offer to you is to send us a couple of your blog posts so we can put them on our website. And
Cool.
I could, if you want to, you don't have to, but, and I could remind you of that too. Like we'd love to, thelawyerstories.com is our website and we have a little blog area and we want to just have a lot of like cool, like blog posts and things to read. So we're headed in
Definitely.
that
We'll take
direction.
you up on it.
What's that? Yeah, for
We'll
sure.
take you up on it.
For sure. So like, yeah, that's good advice. So give us some advice for somebody wanting to get into like the med spa, healthcare, law.
I would say the same thing I would say to you. Perfection is overrated. The best time to start a business is now, but also realize that if you're going to start a business, for the first few years, you may make less money and spend more time than you are doing now at your regular job. So starting a business purely if you want to become, rich or independent is fine, but it may not happen for a long time. So it's definitely a grind, but it's fun.
Yeah. So how did you come up with the name Lengea, by the way?
I was looking for a domain name and a name that sounded smart, and all the other names were taken. And I was like, perfection is overrated. Let me go with a name that nobody could pronounce. Lengea it is.
Really? That nobody could pronounce. Okay.
I mean, it was just, it was at that moment, it was like now or never. Needs to be launched. I'm not going to be that person that's going to spend 2 years figuring out a name. I mean, Lawyer Stories is a much better name than Lengea.
I mean, that just, came to me like you know, but well, Lengea, I just didn't know if there was like a name, like hidden names or something.
No.
Okay, nothing like that. Did you want to speak about anything else about your firm? About
Um,
the clients you're taking in or like what, did we cover everything? I just want to make sure we, covered the bases and that sort of thing.
no, I think we talked enough about my firm. My firm is my firm. It's our firm. It's not just me. I think it's unique in how it's run, but I think probably a lot of people feel that way about their firms.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years with the firm?
Great question. We have a plan, and the plan is to double the size of the firm every year.
Nice.
And so far, we're meeting that plan every year. Every business actually that I've ever had, that's been the plan, and every business has achieved the plan. There are no excuses. So,
Really?
yes,
What other business? I mean, do we know the
I
other?
had the furniture business, right? You don't
Okay.
get from
Yep.
0 to 15 million
Yeah,
by
yeah.
multiplying by 1.
Right. Wow. Okay. Well, I have faith that you're going to do it.
Thank you. I hope so. It's hard. It's
Yeah. Yeah. But what's the competition like out there with other firms that are doing like med spa stuff?
I mean, no one's like us.
No,
But at
nobody's like you. I don't know if and I don't even want to say it on the air that like there's nobody like you, 'cause just in case I spoke to somebody like you, but I don't think. I
Right.
mean, no, it's really cool. Congratulations on all your success, and like I look forward to seeing it. Everything that you want to happen.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a journey, not a destination. But I try to have fun doing it every day, and as long as I'm helping people every day, like I feel very satisfied. So I feel very satisfied at the end of most days.
That's awesome. You probably work very long hours.
You sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. I I'm known to answer emails very late. but
Yep.
sometimes, I'm also known to take time off.
You definitely got to take time off. Okay, cool. Well, Sara Shikhman, I appreciate you being with us. Do we cover everything? Is there anything else that you want to say? Any other parting advice?
No, we covered everything. Thank you.
Good. Yeah, of course. Stay right there. Everybody else, thanks for tuning in. Wherever you are in the world today, enjoy yourselves. Cheers.